Psalm 10. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked bestoweth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous whom the Lord adoreth. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, and the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are private. Hi, kitty. Well, I'm getting a call, and the cat is saying hi. There's a lot going on there. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. The lion. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hands, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest the mischief and spite to require it thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed. The man of the earth may no more oppress. Now, I opened this randomly and decided to read Psalm 10, and that could not feel more relevant to what's all been heated discussion online these days. And it's been an interesting storm, that conversation, because many people are finally acknowledging things for the first time. And yet they're coming in hot and heavy from a place of, where's God? Where's justice? Many of us, like myself, who've seen it for a long time, who lived through it, who survived it, we're having a very different reaction. We're having a different emotional process. We're very much not in a place of vengeance or justice in the form of vengeance. There are many like myself who have gone through the motions that this is talking about. Many of us have come to that understanding that there is no form of justice that man can grant. That, death penalty is not justice. It doesn't fix what was done. Does it stop it in its tracks? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it does. I know that people want things to stop. They want the oppression, the harm to stop. They want the poor to not be preyed upon. And I mean, this is clearly coming from a place of, like, where are you, Christ? Where are you, God? Where are you, angels, in the time of need, when people need you? Why would you allow? And this is the question many people come to, and many people turn away from the Bible or from Christianity because they can't fathom how a God could allow these evil things to occur. If God created everything, why would God create that? If God created us, why would we be capable of such? And now, this part right here is so, so important. Break thou the arm of the wicked, and the evil man seek out his wickedness till thou find none. I feel like that line is probably one of the most powerful ones in that whole song. Because thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest, it's really dark in here, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to require it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee, thou art the helper of the fatherless. Now, fatherless is referring to someone who's turned away from God. Someone who, sees that there is no one to be answered to. These criminals who've committed horrendous crimes against humanity, they are fatherless. They have no discipline. They have no one to report to feel the shame of their, crimes. So that's what that's referring to. And it's saying, when we really, and this is what most of us, and I know it's crazy for many to, I'm seeing this unfold in a very interesting way online in the discussions, the comments, the responses are just so fascinating to watch because, some people are like, don't you dare laugh about it. Don't you dare joke about it. We need action. These people. She's singing. Woo! Yeah, girl. So if you've been a victim at the hands of a monster, aka someone who is fatherless. See, here's the thing, I'm fatherless on the human level, but I'm not fatherless on a spiritual level. And that right there has been so key for me to embrace this past year, because I've spent a lot of my life feeling pretty sad about not having a father. And then, this past year I had to really embrace not only being my own parent or filling that gap, but being a parent that also fills both shoes. And I've been a full-time parent that fills both shoes for the majority of my parenthood years now, 5 years. And most of the time I've had to fill both mother and father role. And then also feeling a lack of mother and father in my own life, and feeling like I have to also be my own mother and father. It put me in a dark place. I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of darkness in my heart and a lot of temptation to just not be authentic with myself because of that sadness and that sense of abandonment. And yet I've always felt very connected to spirit, and God. But I didn't really bestow upon myself the magnitude of that fatherliness. I didn't really, I was still in my human mind of I want my mother and father to show up. I want, guardianship. I want that support. I want to be able to lean on that. I want to be able to have that. And kind of ignoring that I already do divinely have, mother and father, divinely, heavenly, looking after me all the time. So yeah, just this idea that like none of us are fatherless, but when we get into a state of feeling fatherless, whether that's on a human level or on a God spiritual level, that's when we start to do dark things. That's when we start to turn away from light and to not feel that there's accountability involved, not feel like anything matters, right? And so if you are someone who has survived at the hands of someone doing those crimes that we're talking about online a lot, like myself, I was abused, I was hurt, I was harmed, I was groomed, I was also a witness to all kinds of worse things than what I've gone through. But I am one of those survivors, and many of us will tell you that the person who committed those horrendous crimes is as much, if not more, a victim to themselves, to the problem, to the evil. Many that have been abused take on the guilt. And I had to go through many years of therapy and processing and letting go and shedding, various words for similar thing, to just feel like it's not my fault. Because many people, and this is talked about a lot, right? Like, why would they feel like it's their fault? It's still not often understood. If you're, violated, if you are abused intimately, why do women often, but both sides, women and men, why do they feel guilty? Why do they feel guilt if they were the victim? It's because we were the opportunity, or we were the crime, like we were the sin, we were the committed thing, I often felt like, what if I had prevented it, then that person would be saved. Like maybe that person's soul wouldn't be so condemned if I had prevented it from happening. We often feel like every soul deserves innocence, and yet you can't save someone who damns themselves. And by committing a crime like that, they damn themselves. And even as the victim, we are still innocent. Even though we do become touched by such sin, it does affect us, we are still innocent, and it feels guilty. We feel guilty to remain innocent in the exchange. Some of these people were kept prisoner for years. Some of these people were kept abused, and that's really hard to talk about, because I think many of us feel that somatically. And I've been hearing people talk about that a lot, and it's true. And I've been talking about it for a long time. I've been talking about it my whole life, that whether you know about something or not, on a logical level, on a, physical level, you feel it. So if something is happening in the room next to you, but you don't logically know about it, your body, your subconscious feels it. Your spirit feels it. And when we're in proximity, many of us have been in proximity, whether we knew it or not. Things like the Epstein files stuff was happening next door to us. Most of us have been next door to those crimes at some point in our life. Because that's how unnoticed, that's how subtle, that's how immersed it was. That's how widespread it was. That almost every single one of us was right beside that problem, whether we knew it or not. So our spirit, our body, picked up on it. And somatically, we've been experiencing these perpetuated crimes. So these crimes that were perpetuated for decades, sometimes on the same victim for decades, we've been feeling that because those people have been praying. They've been praying for release. They've been praying to be saved, right? They've been praying so much for someone to come and help them. And as humans, we feel that. We feel collective energy. We feel when someone is begging for some help, we can feel it in our heart, as a collective human race, okay? So So we've all been experiencing that abuse, whether we were physically experiencing it or not, right? I'm not trying to discredit, like, yes, some people went through way worse things than other people. Some people didn't go through nothing compared to what some people went through. But we all, as a human race, have been affected. We've all, as a human planet, as the entire planet, it doesn't matter what your culture, what your race, what your, spirituality is, it does not matter. All of us have in some way been impacted and affected throughout our lives by this abuse that was going on. So somatically, we are all in therapy now. Like, we are all feeling this, finally facing what's been ignored, the ignored trauma. The ignored trauma has come to the surface, and many people are finally realizing why they associate with that stuff. They're seeing it and they're going, oh my gosh, like, why did I have dreams about that? Why did I feel like I was in that room? Why did I feel like the fetishization of these things in my own body? Because we have been feeling it in our own bodies. Whether it's because they were screaming out for help and so they just spread that energy out and we picked up on it like that, or whether it's because we just, as a human race, collectively experience things. Or whether it's because we are quite intuitive beings, we have a lot of sensories that we are still not fully aware of and understanding on a science level. And we've been very, very close proximity. And I'm talking close proximity like your neighbor. Your neighbor may have been abused. Your neighbor may have been a part of it. Your classmate, this is the proximity that most of us have had. And so, a lot of people are going through their emotions. They're going through their anger. They're going through their vengeance and all of it. And I just keep seeing a lot of people, though, like, they want to call for war, or they want to call for, some sort of answer. And the only answer is pray. Pray. Trust in God. We've for a long time made the mistake of thinking that humans can deal with these things. Divine intervention is the only thing that deals with those things. And this line right here that I cannot even read now because it's so dark in here. She's making funny noises over there. She's so silly. Yeah, this line really, I think, is something that all of us need to fully get there. And I'm going to read it again now. This is like my third time reading that line. Let's do it. Ready? Now, this is Psalm 10, and it's on line 15. Now, I don't know if that's how you say it. Do you call it a line 15? Like, I don't know. Psalm 10, 15. Right? Right? Okay, look, I grew up with Sunday school, I grew up with church, but I did not spend much time reading the Bible in my life, except for when I was at church and they said, turn to this page. There were very rare moments where I ever took the time to actually read the Bible, and I think that's just because most of my life, and up until now I'm finding it very interesting to look at. Most of my life, I felt like I just wanted to nurture my own connection with God and feel that God and Jesus will speak to me, through me, to me in various ways, to me through, life, that there would be communication of divine, and that I wouldn't need to look at this book to understand things. So, not that I wanted to not need it, but just this feeling of like, I am communing with God and with Jesus in all my own ways. And I kind of always had this assurance that if there was anything in the Bible that I needed to know, I would know it. I would either come across it or I would already know it. And that one day I would decide to sit down and study it. I always felt that way. I just felt like it just wasn't the time yet. And then I felt more and more drawn to starting to read it over the past year or so. And then I finally bought this one for myself as a family. I bought it for the family. And Patrick actually started picking it up and reading very spontaneously. He decided he wanted to read it a lot, actually. It was helping him. So yeah, it's just timing divinely aligned in that regard. And yeah, I never really spent much time reading it, but I did spend a lot of time around this text. Like I did spend a lot of time in church and around people who read the Bible. My mom has read the Bible many times, and anyway, so I was immersed in it, but I never chose to read it myself, because I just felt like the time of that would come, and that when it would come, that there would be a perspective that was valuable in what I had done it about not reading it. I felt like when the time would come that I would read it, then I would have more understanding and perspective of how to apply and understand the knowledge here. So I think that's pretty accurate. This is the best lighting I got. I hope it's okay. At least I can read it. So, yeah. Psalm 10, 15. Break thou arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. See, this is the thing. There is no wickedness and no perfection. Like, humanity is multifaceted, and humanity does make mistakes. And when we try to label someone as bad, we're really missing the point. Like, it's important to understand how someone got to where they are with doing bad things. It's important to understand the context. Like, understand why they are fatherless. Understand what, and the other side of it too. Oh, that was really coming to me, but I forgot to talk about it. Is that the poor kind of give themselves to the lion, you know, like the lamb kind of gives themselves to the lion. The lamb lays down in some ways, or allows themselves to be fooled. And I'm not saying that that's, like, I'm not excusing that, like, it's wrong that they're preyed upon and that there's traps set. Like, of course, 100%, there are traps set. It's unfair. There is completely unfairness involved. Of course, there's manipulation and grooming and all of that, but that is part of it. Like, it's part of our experience to be able to navigate around things like that. Like, I am someone who was very much, because of my class level, because of how I grew up, the poverty, you know, I was exposed to all of that, all those traps. And I did step into traps, you know, I did get myself caught up in some traps, but I took accountability, and that really freed me. Because if I was stuck in a place of, oh, it's their fault, I'm innocent, I walked into their trap, they set a trap, it's their fault, I would just keep walking into traps, because that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything for me to say, oh, I'm innocent and they're setting the trap to me and they should, you know, be held accountable and I shouldn't be in front of all these traps. That's not going to necessarily help solve anything, right? I had to really take accountability in my own life for stepping in those traps, for leaning on people I shouldn't have leaned on, and not like being mad at myself for these, but seeing it as like, this is a lesson, this is a part of my journey. I chose this path, and maybe I should have chose a different path, but I chose this path for a reason, to learn this lesson, to learn this experience, to be fully in that position for some reason, some divine reason. I'm in that path, you know, and I had to take ownership over that in my life and be like, look, I stepped into that path. I decided to allow myself to be comfortable in ways I shouldn't have been, perhaps, and I needed to learn that. If I couldn't take the accountability for everything that went wrong in my life, that I chose to step into those traps, or that I, you know, conscious or unconscious, I did it, it was me, nobody else walks in my shoes, I walk in my shoes, right? If I couldn't take that accountability, I'd be stuck in a blame game. I'd be stuck looking for justice. I'd be stuck trying to fight legal battles. I can't even count how many legal battles I would have if I was in that mentality. Would that really be justice? You know? Would that really be getting me anything that I want? Beautiful. You're making a song? A music video? Whoa! High five, high five. Five, high five, high five. Oh, yeah. Up high, down low, to the floor. Good one, girl. Oh. Do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. High five. Ooh, feels so alive. High five. High five. Oh, hi. High five. High five. Oh, you like the shadow? I know, right? Yeah, so like dangerous people, when recognized, you know, the society, our community does need to protect each other. Our community does need to come together and create the village concept. You know, we really lost that. But we're getting it back. You know, it's slowly, but it's coming. People are making it happen. I'm seeing it. Are you dizzy? Whoa. Accountability is important and safety is important. But we have to self-govern and we have to trust God. Yeah, and everyone has an origin story. You know, you can find compassion for everyone and understand that the problem is a greater problem. The problem. What are you doing? What are you doing? Mwah. You're naming your body parts? Is that what you're doing? Belly button. Nose. Eyes. That's right. Eyes. Hair. What? What's ooh? Mouth? Cheeks? Aww. Number blocks. 1, and another one is 2, and another one is 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you do 3? No, you got it. Wait, try again. Do 3. Do 2. Yeah, it's just like this. There. You keep that one up. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. I know, you just got to keep that one up. Huh? That's 3. That's 2. Good job. Okay, we got phone calls coming.